again, and let's begin recaps, and let's start with the master of the Marvel Universe, Kevin Feige. Welcome. Karl Urban as Skurge. Rachel House plays Topaz. He had on the best shirt at the premiere last night. Jeff Goldblum, the Grandmaster. Known as Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson. I'm just a regular guy in the group, the one and only Mark Ruffalo, who's also the most fierce woman in the universe. Kate Blanchett, Ella. The evil brother, Loki, Tom Hiddleston. And I love this because I skipped over, I don't know how this happens, but the main man himself, Chris Hemsworth, Thor. And then on the end, last but not least, the most important man, the director and also animated cameo in this movie, Taika Waititi. Everybody, let's all sit down together and enjoy this experience. Yeah. Oh, what was that? That's your microphone. I want to start with Chris. And Chris, what makes this Thor different from the others?
Taika Waititi, basically. I think we all had a vision and an idea and a want to do something vastly different than what we'd done before and take it to a different place. And that meant kind of doing away with what we knew and just reinventing it. And it all came from his crazy, wonderful brain and his inspiration and him pushing us every day on set and constantly encouraging us to improvise and explore and take risks, and it was one of the most enjoyable experiences I've ever had on a set, and a film that I feel the most proud of, just because of this whole team and the collaboration and fun we had.
We love you, Chris.
Oh, we love you.
I love you more now, you said.
Thank you.
Taika, you kind of brought an independent sensibility to this monstrous film. It gave fun and heart too. What was the process like for you?
Well, when they first asked me to come and talk to them about making this film, obviously I thought that Marvel had lost their minds, they were just hiring anyone. But then my thing with I came in and I guess I thought that I knew my strengths were just like tone, character, and relationships and things, and I had to ignore the scale of this monster, this beast. Yeah. Huge film, and what can be distracting on set is if you look over your shoulder and you see 300 people standing there. So I just have to keep reminding myself what's most important is what's inside the rectangle, and usually it's 2 or 3 people trying to remember their lines. And so it doesn't matter the scale of the film, that's always the same. So I just focused down on what I was used to, which was what's in front of the camera.
I want to ask Kevin, people are invested in these franchises and they love these characters, so what made Taika and everybody else the right fit?
Well, I mean, Chris sort of said it, we wanted a new sensibility. We wanted to take Thor, and if you look at everything Chris has done as this character, there have been moments of humor throughout, and we wanted to build on that. If you look at the movie, it's got the epic action, it's got Thor arguably more powerful than he's ever been in any of the films, with his powers going up against the Hulk, but at the same time embracing what Mr. Hemsworth does better than anyone up until now has ever been able to see, which is his acting chops expands to comedy in an amazing way, and Taika giving them the confidence to explore that and to try things, and most of that is in the movie because it was on story and yet at the same time expanded each of their characters.
It really was a fun movie. It's a fun movie. You sit there and you're like, hey, you guys have done it. You've worked with Taika before, Rachel, right? So what's the difference between big movies and little movies?
There's a lot bigger trees, because usually we're running around in the mud and the snow and the rain. So it was wonderful to come in each day and see Taika in a suit. Italian leather shows.
I didn't have to make lunch with the crew.
No, it's been wonderful to see Taika so calmly and easily step into that helm of such a big, awesome film.
We're gonna take some questions, because I know you guys have lots of questions out there. If you raise your hand, we're gonna point to you. I'm gonna start right here with this gentleman right here.
My question is for Taika. This film very early establishes that every shot in the movie could have been a heavy metal album cover.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would love to know what your thought process was and how Kevin reacted when you're like, I want this to look like a heavy metal album cover.
Well, and to these guys' credit, they were very supportive right from the beginning. They supported me in this. If you look at all the elements in the film, it's pretty crazy. If you describe all of the characters in this film to someone, it deserves to have all of that color and all of those crazy curvy designs and it's a bombastic concept that just you can't hold back from this thing. So it's either all in or nothing.
Who decided on Led Zeppelin? Because there are like 20 rock songs you hear and everybody gets hyped, black, yellow, red, whatever.
Taika, the first meeting Taika came in, I asked somebody to ask you about your passport adventure, but that can be another day. But he had a sizzle reel, oftentimes people come in, right. Almost didn't get to the meeting. But he came in, filmmakers sometimes will say, using clips of other movies, here's what I have in mind. And sometimes they're not good, most of the times they're okay. His was amazing and was scored to that Led Zeppelin song.
Yeah.
So from the beginning, that song kind of defined what Taika was going to do with this. That it's in the trailer, that it's in the film, all from that first meeting and from one of his first instincts of this movie is very impressive.
It fits beautiful. Over here on the end.
Hello. My question is for Taika and possibly Kevin. Where is Lady Sif? Is she alive? Did she just...
Kevin.
If she had been on Asgard, she might not be alive. So that's one of the advantages.
Lady Sif is an actor in New York on a TV show.
That's true.
Just busy.
That's right.
I've been using a Force Awakens quote today when people ask me that, and to say, if that's a good question for another time.
There you go. There you go. This gentleman right here.
Mark, this is a question for you. First of all, my wife is extremely jealous of the same movie. Are you interested at all in doing a full Hulk movie? This is the first time we've seen the Hulk this much. And if so, what aspect of the character would you be most interested in exploring?
I would love to do a Hulk movie, and I think we all would love to do one. But about a year ago, before I even had this part, we were talking about doing this. It was over a year ago. Kevin asked me to come over and have a script meeting, and basically he sat me down and he said, what would you like to do if you had a standalone Hulk movie? And I said, I'd like to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and then this, and then this, and this, and this, and then it would end like this. And he's like, I love that. Let's do that over the next 3 movies, starting with Thor 3, carry it on through Avengers 3 and Avengers 4. And so that's my standalone Hulk movie. And Taika's gonna take all 3 of those movies and cut it into one movie. And that'll be on the DVD. and me and Taika can own that, right?
I haven't thought about that.
No, that's exactly what happened. And it's someday a standalone I think would be great, but for the time being, Hulk's presence in these movies, and certainly now, as Mark has talked about, what we're going to be able to do with his character arc over these 3 movies is super exciting.
All right. Next question, right here. Yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Dory, from Geeks of Color. I just want to say thank you, Mark, for supporting our page. But my question is for Tessa. First, how did it feel playing a character? Did you have any pressure playing a character that was canonically white in the comics and bringing that character to life? Like, how did you feel about that?
No, I didn't feel any pressure with that specifically. I think, the things that I thought about the particulars of Valkyrie had more to do with like mass and size. For example, I thought like, oh, I'm short, or like I'm not buff enough, or how, if she's arguably strong as Thor, how do I stand, next to a person like Chris Hemsworth and you feel like that's true, So I didn't think so much. I mean, satisfying Norse mythology, it's mystifying and fantastical and glorious and also very confusing. It doesn't make a lot of sense, And I remember someone online saying like, Tessa Thompson playing Valkyrie is white genocide, and which is just as mystifying as Norse mythology. The thing that I'm tasked to do with any character that has its own iconography is to capture the spirit of the character, and I think the spirit of all of us, at the risk of sounding cheesy, has very little to do with what color we are. So I just didn't really invest in that.
All right, next question. Over to the man in the second row. Gentleman in the second row.
This question's for Jeff. You've been in so many iconic films. What was it like to come into the Marvel universe?
Oh,
Great.
Hello. Fantastic. I like the character, of course, and the opportunities in the character. Joining a group like this, a cast like this, is a dream come true. Working with Taika, that was my first, connection point to the movie. We had a meeting and hit it off, and he said what we were going to do and improvise and have fun. But then Kevin Feige and Louis D'Esposito and Victoria Alonso and Brad Winterbaum, the whole upper tier of creative leaders do something unique. They know how to make these epic productions and popular movies, but they want to make good movies, and they somehow uniquely know how to do them that feels to me like an actorly, workshop-y, character-y, improvisatory, delightful experience. And make a movie that I think skins the cat like this. It's just, I'm grateful, overwhelmingly grateful.
You got a skin. Next question, right here. Yes.
From the poster, there's the three of you, Mark and Chris and Kate, in this sort of healthy competition sort of
tantric embrace.
Yes. So was there healthy competition? How much healthy competition was there on set?
A lot.
Yeah. That's why we don't sit next to each other.
Yeah. Mark was always in the middle.
Yeah. And I'm sick of it.
We had the New Zealand-Australian competition going.
Yeah, well, there's been a very intense rivalry between our two nations.
For thousands
of years.
Even though our countries only existed for a couple of hundred, it goes back before that.
The white bit.
I liked it. I mean, apart from the experience of making a big movie, I like to think that the real reason we did this was to bridge the gap between our two nations and foster some sort of kinship and peace, because the New Zealand-Australian war must end.
And it has, and we love one another, truly.
And I brought them together.
Next question, right here in the front row.
Your character is absolutely amazing. You are one bad, just phenomenal. Badass. You are one badass, and I appreciate it.
You are one bad actor.
This is what it was like.
So leads me to my question. So how was it fighting with Chris?
I didn't do enough of it. I kept wanting to do more. But no, look, it was hugely enjoyable for me. And apart from working with these guys, obviously, the chance to finally, in my deep middle age, to get fit and to wear that much lycra was really exciting for me. But I worked with Chris's trainer, Zoki, for 20 minutes a day, which doesn't sound like much, but my God, it was intense. And Zoe Bell, who is, I mean, an extraordinary actress in her own right, and a director in her own right. But she was blessed every day with the fact that she was my stunt double. Because when I started, I had to manifest these weapons out of my. I'm not spoiling anything by saying that in my cabin. Have I just lost my chance to be in the sequel? I manifest weapons, and I had to throw them, and I could see Taika's disappointment as I ha, and I had to stop making the noises because I go ha, and so I had to close my mouth. And so eventually Zoe suggested that I put some sugar, which was deeply humiliating, sugar packets in my hand so at least I could throw something and be real. And then, yeah, so Zoe helped me with little things like that. She was a great action director. So I moved from the humiliating to the exhilarating in a matter of 5 days.
So glad you're not the only person who looked at like that.
I know, it was the suit that you were wearing that was really bad.
You look disappointed in me a lot.
Well, you know, lucky that I didn't have the Oscar category for throwing.
Now you're really good at it.
I am.
Let's get a question from the back, all the way in the back there. The gentleman right there. Yep. There you are. Yep.
My question is for Kate as well, although any of the actors can comment on it should they choose. I know you've had a background in theater, and there's always been a lot of Shakespeare running through the Thor movies with scheming families and things along those lines. And so my question is, have you ever played Goneril? And if you haven't, do you think Hela would qualify as that style of character? Would she be a character like that?
Well, yes, that's quite a good comparison. I didn't think about Shakespeare very much on this one. No, but it was great to, I think, just on a prosaic level, that the language had shifted, you know, enormously in this. It was just texturally, it was a huge departure, and as Jeff was referring to, how much improvisation there was, and I'm really upset that the line Dumbos didn't end up. There was one of them. Taika would just keep throwing lines, and there was one day when we were on set, and I said, I'm the goddess of death, and what are you, the god of again? And Kristen said, I'm the god of, and Taika said, Dumbos. That could make the cut.
What's the first cut?
It'll be on the DVD.
Yeah, yeah. So the language was quite different, but personally, I mean, I went back to two things primarily. I went back to the extraordinary images that are there in the original comics, and then I went to the fan base, because there's all these Hela fangirls who are doing these extraordinary makeups online, and so when we were thinking about what she'd look like visually, I went to that. So I started with the visual rather than the textual, I think. Oh, yeah.
All right, right here, yeah, lady right there, yeah.
That's, yeah.
Hi, this question is for Chris and Tom and anyone else who wants to answer regarding the Hulk and his dialogue. We hear a lot more dialogue now than we ever have before. What is that like for you, like hearing that? Because it's kind of like childlike almost in a way. We don't really hear him talk a lot in other films.
I loved it. I mean, this is my favourite version of the Hulk. For two. Because we actually got to act together, you know. We'd only really fought one another on screen in the previous films, and this time around we got to just sort of improvise our way through it and sort of invent this chemistry that we hadn't explored before, and sort of build this new version of the Hulk, which was a little bit more articulate and vocal than he had been prior. And there's just so much more room for humour and fun that the character then embodies that I think is fantastic. I loved it.
Too. When I first talked to Mark about doing the film, the thing we connected on was I said, this is going to be like with Nail and I in space. With you and Chris just trying to get off this planet. Yeah, we've gone on holiday by accident. That's the kind of thing, like those relationships. And what also I'm really happy about in the film is, you know, the scene on the bed when you guys are making up after the argument. You just, that just shouldn't exist, but it does, and it works, and that's, you know, from where I come from, that's probably where we all come from. That's what I think grounds the film a little bit more for the audience, is going, yeah, that's right. Superheroes do have to, you know, make up after arguments as well, you know. Do have to do the dishes. So yeah, that's what I love. Well, being given the opportunity in this film is to show that side of these, you know, these really crazy big characters.
All right, right here. Stay right here.
Thank you. Hi guys, super excellent movie. I'm Joel from Black Girl Nerds. Tessa, my question is for you. First of all, you did an amazing job in the film. Is there any chance that we could see maybe you doing a Valkyrie solo movie where you're maybe rebuilding the Valkyries and starting from some scratch there? It was amazing.
Pretty good idea.
Very good idea.
Pretty good idea. No.
Yes. Yeah, you heard it there first. Recently, I marched up with a couple other women that work in Marvel, and we were like to Kevin, what about a movie with some female superheroes, just like all of them?
It's a pretty amazing moment to be somewhere, have your shoulder get tapped and turn around, and every female hero we have was standing there going, how about it?
Yeah.
And I said yes.
The
Fementers!
The Fementers?
We've been improvising a lot. It's really hit or miss sometimes.
I don't know the character that much.
But there's a precedent for it in the comics, right? Because there are teams like the Lady Liberators and I don't know how to
Deep cut, Lady Liberator, deep cut.
That's a deep cut, yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
I want to ask Tom a question real quick. And Tom, do you feel that there is a change in Thor? Could there be a change in Loki also? There's a little haircut that happens in this movie. Do you think you could ever change, or is that just a part of your character?
I did ask Taika if I could get a haircut as well. Yeah, no, the answer was a quick no. It's interesting. I mean, in a way, in this film, it is about, I think, I'm not spoiling anything, but the development of the relationship between Thor and Loki as brothers is Thor has evolved and grown and matured, and Loki in a way is stuck in his struggles of the past, and that's, in a way, that's the challenge for Loki in this, is that he's got to confront the fact that time is moving on and people change, and so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. There's room to grow, and I'm still here, and we'll see where he goes next. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Loki with a beard might be pretty big.
Yeah. Well, we got to see Loki evolve. Well, next question. Let me go right. Let me go in the back there. I'm going in the back. In the back there. Yes, sir. Ma'am. Yes.
Hi, my question's for Kevin or anybody that would like to answer. Is there any Easter eggs that we could look forward to in the trash piles that we see, both when Thor and then when Jeff Goldblum's character lands at the end of the movie as well?
There might be some things in the trash piles. I mean, the biggest Easter eggs are on the side of the Sakaran palace, right? Taika, there are previous Grandmaster champions that we see as one for Hulk is being constructed, and those are all sort of Easter eggs for the deeper comic universe that may or may not ever show up in the cinematic universe, but we thought it would be fun to celebrate.
Yeah. In the trash pile, there is one Easter egg, an actual egg. You wouldn't, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's one of the small ones, but the tiny little chocolate ones. And it's a big white shot.
I want to ask Karl about coming into this universe, and also, did you feel like Kate talked about working out 20 minutes a day? Did you go ahead and
Were you working out, getting ready to stand up?
It was intense, and working out the schedule was rather intense. In fact, Taika came to me and said, listen, you need to tone down. You can't be bigger than Chris, okay? So I did,
Stop eating so much chicken, Carl.
So it was fun. You know what, I just had the most amazing time working on this film, and building upon what Jeff said, I feel very blessed to be a part of this family and to have had the opportunity to work with Taika and for him to be so well supported by the team at Marvel and for them to have the courage and the bravery to allow him to just do his thing. And it was a real rarity, and I really appreciated the environment that Taika created on set. It was fun, it was focused, it often played music, and there was nothing sacrilegious about the take. Quite often you'd be in the middle of a take and be, oh, try this or try that. And it was just wonderful. It felt like everybody had your back. And we had to go to song on the set. What was his go-to song? What was his go-to dance?
Need somebody.
I remember Lou Reed. I remember a bit of Lou Reed. I remember obviously
a lot of Bowie.
You play Bowie.
Yeah.
Go Yabba Yabba was that was my entrance into Asgard was don't bite your friends.
Don't Bite Your Friends from Yo Gabba Gabba. I really recommend if you've got children, I really recommend playing that song. It's all about teaching kids not to bite other kids.
That lines in my brain.
Don't bite your friends. Sometimes it's a simple message like that,
You never know what's going to trigger an actor.
No, that's right.
Thank you.
Kate, don't bite the other actors.
Shall right here.
Hi, I have a question for Taika.
Yes.
What was the most difficult part of making this film for you? Like, was there anything that you struggled with?
Next question. Please don't continue. Were you going to ask what the most difficult part of making this film was?
Well, compared to
My small films. Yeah. It was really like what to choose for lunch. Main thing. So many options. It's actually like keeping your energy up, like creatively. Like my shoots are very short and like to work super fast. All my shoots are like 25 to 30 days, and like by day 30 on this, I was like, well, no more ideas, I'm done. And you got 55 more days, and so I had to like do some meditation and like try and chill out, just to kind of keep my my creative energy going through that whole length of time, because the amount of stress or the exhaustion really does take its toll, and you don't realise it's happening until it's too late and you can't feel your legs.
But then there's the whole post. I mean, that's a whole other...
Yeah, my favourite thing is shooting. I love being on set with people and laughing and having a great time and being creative. Then you're stuck in a dark room with one person trying to make sense of this whole thing, for almost a year. And then, so that's a whole new journey of exhaustion. And then you can't feel your arms after that. It's all come back to all the senses.
Right. Yeah.
Hi, this is for Kevin or for Taika. Right at the beginning of the film, the Warriors 3 are kind of iced unceremoniously. What was the decision to make that call or to kind of shelve those characters?
Well, it was they had noble ends, mainly to serve the arrival of Hela, the arrival of the biggest villain into the MCU, who within the first 5 minutes destroys the hammer, kicks Loki and Thor out of Asgard, and kills almost anyone we've ever met before in the other movies, which is really, we wanted to start with a bang.
Yeah.
They will be remembered.
Right here.
Did you miss your, over here, this side? As Kevin mentioned it, the hammer, did you miss at all having your hammer as kind of a prop? Because I know actors love props.
And what did you do with your hands?
That's right. Forgot something. No, I mean, it was sort of good. It just helped kind of shed anything too familiar. You know, I feel like holding the hammer or even the wig and the previous costume certainly just put me in a place and set me in on a path of what I already knew, and I wanted it to be unfamiliar. And so everything from the hammer to the costume and the hair made me and allowed me to move differently and forced me to move differently, and so it was a great thing. And I don't really miss it. I've got one at home. It's in the toilet, actually.
One last question, right?
I'm just wondering, for the score, for those of us who've seen Jeff play, I was wondering, did he secretly play on any of the music in the score?
Yes, he did. Oh, no, not the score, sorry. On set he did.
Oh.
I remember the music he played on the keyboard on set. So was that in the score, Taika? I don't know if that's in the score.
Well, we changed it because at the time it was all jazz, and that particular scene we were playing.
Yeah.
In Mother's Bow, we were extremely lucky to get in and do the score. The music that I wanted to look at for Sukar, and I wanted to create like, you know, you're talking about the heavy metal album covers and stuff. Also was trying to dive into like Jean-Michel Jarre soundscapes and like, you know, like the kind of music that accompanies those spray paint things you see on Venice Beach of like pyramids and like 17 moons and stuff, you know, like really like kind of just good fantasy music with synthesizers and arpeggiated rhythms. And so Mark was amazing at that, you know, comes in and does all that stuff. And in that particular scene, we played music. We played a lot of music even through the scenes. So there's a lot of stuff where another artist from Nigeria, William Onyebo, who's a great African 70s funk pop artist, and so we played him, and I don't know if you know, I was sick of it, I never did, but we played it probably 50 times throughout these scenes. And there was all that just very eclectic mix of sounds and rhythms and stuff. But yeah, Jeff was often playing throughout that scene. You know, when he's on the piano there. But we replaced you.
Yeah. But I sing, but then you got me to sing, and then one happy birthday. And that's on the track, that's in the track.
Well, that's there, so you've got that.
Thank you, everybody. You know, it's time to wrap. We have to wrap up, unfortunately. But a round of applause for everybody.